Let's talk about shame today. Shame is a quiet destroyer. It's not just about something you did or didn't do. Actually, more often than not, it has nothing to do with any of this. It's much more about who you believe you are. And I think one of the most important topics to talk about, because shame lies. It tells you you're broken, you're unworthy, you're unlovable. But what if I told you that shame isn't actually about you at all? It's more about your survival. And you have been playing by its rules for too long. Let me explain. Today we are not just talking about shame, we are unpacking it piece by piece. By the end, you will see why it's there, why it hurts so much, and how to stop letting it run your life. So let's have a look at shame from the scientific point of view. Shame isn't random. There are different aspects as to why we experience feelings of shame. One aspect is biology. It's kind of wired into us. It's the brain's way of keeping us connected to our tribe. In ancient times, being cast out from the group was basically a death sentence. So shame evolved as a survival mechanism. Don't mess up, don't stand out, don't risk rejection. So when you feel shame, your brain lights up like you are under a threat or something. Your heart is racing. Maybe your stomach is sinking. That is your nervous system trying to protect you from rejection, that clear death sentence ahead. But here's the problem with that. Your brain doesn't know the difference between being rejected by a person or something and being in actual, real danger. This makes shame and fear very much related to each other. The other aspect of shame is the shame that we have learned as we lived. Families, schools, society. These are the places we first learn that being ourselves might not be safe. So maybe you were shamed for crying, for speaking out, for failing. Maybe you were just simply looking different to the others. This alone can be enough to become the odd one out and start an endless chain of bullying and ridicule and have devastating effects on your self-esteem and confidence. Maybe you were told enough times, what's wrong with you? So that you have at the end started to believe it. So you believe what has been said by others, and hence you need to protect yourself in order to survive. So shame and its consequences begin as protection, but as we go through life, shame ends up being a prison. Let's talk about what shame does to us and the masks it wears. What it does foremost is it shrinks you. It keeps you stuck and small. It tells you to hide the parts of yourself you think others won't accept. It makes you quiet in the room, even when you have something to say. It keeps you in jobs, relationships, and habits that really don't serve you. Because the thought of being seen and rejected feels worse than staying stuck. Shame creates fears and breaks our trust in people and in life. It isolates and creates loneliness, that deep feeling of not belonging, of not being part of this world, of not finding a place that you can call home. Unless we mask it and pretend to be someone else, living a life that other opinions about life have created for us. So we can fit in and fall for the illusion that we are part of something. But that comes as a price. So let's name the fear that this feeds on: judgment, But we don't really fear judgment, do we? We fear negative judgment. We fear being seen and rejected because deep down, we believe that rejection confirms something terrible about us, that we are not enough, that we are worthless, that we are a fraud. And so we keep living in the fear of being uncovered. What if they find out who I really am? Then I won't be loved. Then I won't be accepted. Then I won't succeed. And this becomes a vicious cycle. The more you hide, the more ashamed you feel. The more ashamed you feel, the more you hide. It's a trap designed to keep you where you are. The real one stays small and hidden. Whoa, the stress level is just unbelievable. And because it is so stressful, we take on coping mechanisms and we can get really creative with those. We take drugs, we drink, we binge eat, we shop, we play games, we distract ourselves in so many different ways. Instead of naming shame as the source of it all and start working our way out of it. But here's what shame doesn't want you to know. It's not about you. Shame is like a shattered mirror. There's an image of pieces that could look like parts of you, but it doesn't really, does it? It's like a distorted image of something you label as you and you take on as a truth. This mirror certainly doesn't reflect your worth. It's not even what others might see. It reflects the fears and values of the people who taught you to feel ashamed about yourself. When someone shames you, it's not about your flaws. More often than not, it's about their inability to accept difference, vulnerability, or failure. Maybe they feel shame themselves and rather not be confronted with it. When people leave you because of your shame, your vulnerability, it's not proof that you are unworthy. It could be so many things. But those things cannot be you, but they are rather internal to them. And that's fair enough, isn't it? Raise your hand if you have never ever rejected something or someone in your life for something, right? I thought so. Everyone rejects something, and that's okay. What is not okay, on the other hand, is when we begin to reject ourselves. Here's a question for you that I would like to invite you to sit a little bit with. What if your shame isn't a flaw, but a sign of your humanity? What if the very thing you are hiding is the thing that would connect you to others, to the real people that enrich your life? Because the people who matter don't shame you for being human. They see you, they stay, they love you. So here are some ways to begin to make peace with yourself and let shame go in the process. Shame grows in silence. The moment you name it, whether it is to yourself in a journal or to someone you trust, it begins to lose its power. And you can start small. Find just one safe person who can be there for you and listen to your story without trying to fix it. Just being seen and heard and understood is enough to start dismantling shame. And when you then make the experience that this person stays with you and didn't run away in utter disgust, you begin to collect evidence for your brain that you can't be that bad, can you? Another way of addressing shame is just asking yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen if someone judged me? Would I survive it? Did I so far? And would it actually change something about me or my worth, objectively? And what's the best thing that could happen if I just showed up as I really am? What if the risk of being vulnerable led to my inner freedom and my inner peace? And whether I was then rejected or not, would it still matter? So shame thrives in silence, but also on black and white thinking. I failed, therefore I am a failure. Rewrite that script. Replace I am with I did or I feel blah right now. This simple shift in language takes shame from identifying with who you are as a person, with feelings and behavior, which are changeable, correctable, excusable most of the time. You make mistakes, but you are not your mistakes. You are a whole evolving person, flawed, imperfect person, which will always distinguish you from machines, puppets, and AI. Welcome to the human race. And keep in mind, not everyone will accept you, like you don't accept everyone either. And that's okay. When people reject you for being real, a little bit too much on this side and a little bit whatever on that side, it says more about them than it does about you. One person's treasure is another person's trash. No, one person's trash is another person's treasure. Just say, people who shame you for this are already gone. Actually, they were never really with you. The people who stay, they are your people. And I can say this wholeheartedly from experience. Even if it stings in that moment, or even if it stings for a while, it always turned out, in retrospect, I dodged a hell of a lot of bullets in my life. And when you look at your life, you will probably find something similar. Oh, and last but not least for today, learn to trust your gut more if you don't already. If someone or something feels off, it usually is. The only thing that might be a bit challenging to become aware of is whether your fear and shame is talking or your gut. But this comes with practice, like all good things in life do, and you will learn to become confident in it. Practice your sense of awareness with more mindfulness, for example, and learn to respect yourself more. So if you have been carrying shame, I want you to hear this. Even if you don't feel like this right now, but you are not broken. You don't need fixing. You're just human. And the moment you stop hiding, shame starts to lose its grip. Because shame thrives in darkness and silence, as I said, and you are meant for light. So if this video today resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe and stick around with me. This is the work I do, helping you shed what's weighing you down so you can step into the life you deserve. One step, one moment at a time. And if you would like to dive deeper into this and yourself, I can invite you to check out my programs that I will link here below in the description box. And for now, have a lovely day. Take the first step out of shame and do something that is really you and helps you to feel more connected to yourself. Maybe something silly, playful, fun, and see how that feels. Bye for now.